Headlines sweep the island, and the press was all over Sodor writing notes and taking photographs. A great discovery was uncovered by researchers from the Olmsted Castle Preservation Society. They had unearthed the lost crown of King Godred, a relic from medieval times thought to be lost forever, until now. "This is truly a great discovery," said one of the researchers who was part of the expedition team. "I am pleased to announce that Godred's crown will be on display at Olmsted Castle for a limited time. My team and I want to conduct some research before putting it on a permanent display." Outside the castle, Thomas, Edward, and Henry were talking. "These are truly remarkable times," said Edward. "I remember hearing stories about the hiding place of Godred's crown for years." "Right now we're living in history within the making," said Thomas. "It's really an interesting thought." True, said Henry. "But there's also the curse." "What curse?" asked Thomas. "Yeah, I've never heard of a curse," said Edward. "Really? I'm surprised you haven't," said Henry. "The curse is that if Godred's crown is discovered, you must leave it where it lies. Otherwise, Godred's spirit will be awakened from his rest and send plagues of bad luck throughout the island." "Ho, ho, ho, ho! Lay off the Welsh coal, will you, Henry?" said Gordon, who had just pulled in with a line of coaches, dropping off more tourists and curious locals. "That curse is nothing but rubbish. A fish tale told by railwaymen to spook each other or tell a tale of lies to gullible tourists." "Ho, ho, ha, ha, ha!" laughed Gordon. "It was only a thought, Gordon. Who's to say that it's not true?" stated Henry. "Yeah, what do you know, Gorgon?" chuckled Thomas. "I know 100% of the time science is correct and rumors are wrong. And stop calling me Gorgon, little Thomas." Both Edward and Thomas looked at each other, chuckling. "Oh, the indignity of you two. Such childish behavior." And Gordon backed away. "What's a Gorgon?" asked Henry. "It means frightful and ugly," said Edward. Thomas is only teasing, though. Henry just laughed. The following day, Duck was shunting at Brendan with Salty the dockyard diesel. "Arr, can't you smell it?" "Smell what?" asked Duck. "The humidity. I feel bad weather's approaching." "The only thing I smell is rotten oysters," said Duck, who looked greener than usual. "No, he's right," said a voice from above. It was Cranky the Crane. "Look out at the horizon. Those are some pretty nasty-looking clouds approaching." The three looked out towards the water, and the darkest of clouds were slowly rolling in. A flash of lightning burst occasionally in its mass. Later that night, it wasn't until in the evening that the storm broke over Sodor. It was a violent one. Wind howled like some fierce, ghostly beast of nature. The rain bucketed down all over the town's docks and sheds. The engines were nice and dry in their sheds, but the wind rattled the shed doors all through the night, and flashes of lightning and powerful booms of thunder shook it. The engines couldn't sleep at all. They were kept awake from the thunderous noise of the storm. Every now and then they would hear fire trucks and ambulance sirens echo into the night. When morning came, they found the yards of Tidmouth looking like some kind of apocalyptic wasteland. Trucks struck by lightning were smoking. Trees toppled over across the line. The turntable's gutter was flooded with water, and the shed shingles were strewn about, literally ripped off the roof by severe winds. The engines were shocked in disbelief at the destruction, but they knew they had to get to work. The turntable's hydraulics failed from electrical power failure, so the workmen physically pushed it to get each engine out of the shed. Gordon was put on breakdown train duty, alongside Diesel 10, who was clearing debris off the track with his claw. Thomas and Percy had to remove the destroyed trucks and take them to the scrapyard. Henry brought coaches of workmen to help with the influx of repairs they would need to do. Everyone lent a buffer in the cleanup. Out of all the locations that suffered from the storm, Olmsted Castle lay untouched. Not even a drop of rain hit it, which all the engines found strange. "That's bizarre," said Edward. "We all got hit with this monsoon of a storm, and Ulstead is completely dry and fine. Perhaps we've angered the spirit of Godred himself, said Henry. All the engines groaned. You're still on about that, aren't you, Henry? Said James snarkily. It was just a freak storm, not caused by some fairy tale magic of sorts. Yeah, it was just really bad weather. It can happen at any given time, said Duck. But Ulstead is completely untouched by the storm. It could be a warning from the angered spirit. You never know, stated Percy. Oh, Percy, please, said Thomas. Don't even bother to give Henry's little fantasy story any more sense. The engines all sat arguing with each other until each of them were called away to duty. Meanwhile, at Brendam Docks, Duck and Salty were busy cleaning up a mess too, as Brendam was the first sight of when the storm first hit the land. Waves broke over the seawall and flooded everything close to the water. Cranky the crane was hurt. The powerful winds bent his crane arm. Will you two hurry up and clear a path for the workmen? My arm's aching over here. We're working as fast as we can, me hearty. Be patient, said Salty. Cranky just sulked. At last, workmen began their repairs on the dockside crane. Cranky felt much better afterwards. That was some storm there, matey, said Salty up to Cranky. Too strange, though, said Cranky. Duck then puffed up. What do you mean, strange? Well, stated Cranky, thinking back to last night. I just finished loading a ship last night when I saw the clouds rolling in. It looked like nothing but lightning, just flashes all around in the darkened clouds. But it was what I saw within them that was strange. Salty and Duck looked at each other with puzzled expressions, but they had Cranky the Crane's full attention. What did you see? Asked Duck. You all might think I'm crazy, but I saw a face. It was like that of a man with a long beard, and he had a fierce expression on his face. He looked angry. It formed and dissipated and formed again as the storm began to move towards the land. Before it disappeared, I was hit with a terrible monsoon. Now Duck and Salty were speechless. They didn't know what to think. But Salty just said, Sometimes the cloud make funny shapes that look familiar to us, me hearties. 'Tis probably was nothing but that. Let's hope you're right, said Cranky ominously. Meanwhile, on the main line, Gordon and Diesel 10 were out clearing it. Diesel 10 was whistling while he worked at a steady pace. Gordon, in the meantime, was complaining. Oh, would you hurry up? I don't want to be out here all day, he grouched. Gordon, when's the last time you did any hard work? We're essential. We've only been at it for an hour, and not once have you shut up about work. I resent that, said Gordon, looking out to the field next to the line. The big blue engine thought he saw something out in the distance. It looked like a horse, running at speed. Diesel 10, do you see that? See what? The Diesel said, turning his eyes to look out where Gordon was looking. And he saw it too. Look at the rider of that horse. He looks like a knight. They saw the eerie-looking knight disappear over the hill. Then trailing behind him was a wall of flames. Oh! Gordon said in a panic. It's a fire! 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 The two shrieked. The sky was suddenly engulfed in black smoke. It covered the sun and turned everything dark. We gotta call the fire department, said Diesel 10. The two rolled backwards to the nearest signal box where the call was made. Every single town, every single village's fire department were dispatched to the inferno. Gordon and Diesel 10 were questioned by police as to what the cause was. They explained what they saw, and the police officer gave them a stern, unamused look back. This is serious, not a time for jokes, he said. But we're not joking. We saw a knight riding a horse and he lit the field up. they both said. They were completely insistent on it. This is a waste of time, the police officer said and walked away. No one believes us, said Gordon. But they've got to, replied Diesel 10. Maybe Henry was right. Right about what? Maybe it has something to do with the crown being taken, said Gordon. Henry said something about a curse, that if the crown is taken from its resting place, it angers the spirit of King Godred. And ye will suffer the wrath, finished Gordon. Wrath is right, said Diesel 10, and the two engines watched the firemen run into battle the Inferno, brought on by the Phantom Knight in armor. It was a long day, and there was still more of the cleanup to do tomorrow. Most of the engines were exhausted and fell asleep on arrival in the sheds, all except for Henry and Gordon, who were up late talking. I told you, said Henry. Now what did you and Diesel 10 see that caused that fire? As unbelievable as it sounds, it was a ghostly-looking knight on a horse running through the fields. After he passed, this massive wall of flames tore through the land, explained Gordon. We tried explaining it to the police, but they thought we were full of it. That sounds like what happened when thieves first stole the crown some centuries ago. My driver read the history behind it and explained it to me. Well then, you must know what the next disaster will be, stated Gordon. Morning was still far away. That night, the engines were asleep soundly when suddenly... They all woke up with a start. Oh, what's happening? The ground's shaking. What's that noise? They all said, panicking. Suddenly, as soon as it started, the shaking stopped and shot through the yards and disappeared. What was that? Asked Duck. It sounded and felt like an earthquake, said Henry. An earthquake in the UK, said James. What the hell's been going on lately? They were all confused by the events happening this week. Gordon looked at Henry, and Henry only looked away and looked down at his buffers. When morning came, more distressing news hit the yards. As due to the quake last night, a landslide broke through the Croven's Gate village. Mud and rocks tore through homes and several businesses, unfortunately taking the lives of 5 people while they slept. The Skarloey Railway were helping with rescue efforts, and the engines of Tidmouth were sent there with equipment, workmen, and volunteers. The scene was disturbing. With the mass amount of destruction going on, the Fat Controller called a meeting with the town's council and all the engines. They met at Knapford. He took a megaphone and spoke calmly but sternly. We don't know what's been happening lately. Meteorologists and biologists can't make heads or tails out of the random natural events, but I'm sure of their expertise reaching a verdict soon. Until then, everyone, and I mean everyone, will be assisting in rescue efforts, supplying water, food, and medicine. All of you are needed. Suddenly, the sky went black. Clouds turned dark gray. Lightning striked and thunder boomed above, followed by an aggressive and angered echoing voice. The voice said and shot through the air. People on the platform ran like frightened cattle, rushing to get away from whatever this was. Suddenly, 3 bolts of lightning struck the ground, only feet away from the Fat Controller. In the wake of the flash stood a tall man in knight's armor. He was translucent, pale, ghostly blue color, and had wrinkled brows with a large white beard. He stood before the Fat Controller and the engines. A white mist escaped from his outline. Who are you? Said the Fat Controller nervously.
Give it back,
it said. What? Asked the Fat Controller.
Give it back now!
The figure roared, and the glass on top of the station shattered. More thunder boomed.
Give it back, or suffer my curse,
the Phantom said. In the blink of an eye, a flash of lightning struck the ground again, and the figure was gone. The engines, the people, and the Fat Controller were all speechless. Who was that figure? Asked Percy, frightened. King Godred, said Henry sheepishly.